Good morning. On behalf of Chancellor Everett and our athletic director, Doug Gillen, I want to thank Commissioner Gill and the Sun Belt for this great event, a way to kick off the 2022 season. I want to welcome Marshall, James Madison, Old Dominion, and Southern Miss into the best non-autonomy conference in the country. The new Sun Belt has like-minded institutions, regional rivalries, passionate fan bases, winning football traditions with a commitment to excellence. And we brought two great ambassadors here for our university and for the Sun Belt, and Chase Brice, our starting quarterback, and All-American corner, Stephen Jones, both college graduates. Very proud of that. We returned 11 starters from last season. 9 of those starters were first-team all-conference players. On offense, we returned 4 out of the 5 starting offensive linemen, our starting quarterback, all of our tight ends, and running backs. We have a young receiving corps this year. We lost 4 receivers to the National Football League. They are all in training camp right now, but we're very excited about the young guys we have in that room. We've recruited very well at that position. It's something we look forward to. On defense, we're very excited about our team speed. That's something we recruited at Appalachian State. We will recruit speed over size because speed will always win. Nick Hampton, who's our outside linebacker, he has really changed his body over the last 6 months. He's 6'3", 240, Jalen McLeod, Jordan Earl, Trey Cobb, and of course Stephen Jones. When you win a lot of football games, you have turnover. So this year we had 3 coaching changes in the offensive side of the ball. Coach Ponce went to the University of Miami. We hired Kevin Barbay as our offensive coordinator. Lawrence Dawsey came in from Texas A&M, and we were fortunate enough to hire Jeep Wade as our offensive line coach. But looking forward to this year, looking forward to the new Sun Belt. This brings great rivalries into our conference, especially on the eastern side of our division. Again, this year we were picked to win it. I don't believe in polls early in the season. I believe in after the season. But you look top to bottom on the Eastern Division, anybody can win our conference. And so, in saying that, we're excited about it, excited to get started, and we'll open questions.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take questions for Coach Clark and the student athletes. Ask those of you in the room, please, if you would, raise your hand, and please also stand up because we'll be catching you on camera for our folks watching us digitally. And please state your name and your media affiliation before asking your question. And for those of you watching us on Zoom, please type your questions into the chat and I will read those. First of all, do we have any questions from here in the room? Please raise your hand.
Coach Clark, Emmanuel Pappas, Sun Belt Conference. Just wanted to talk about this program has not only been established in the Sun Belt, but on a national footprint as well. And just talk about that with the non-conference opponents that you have. You've had the opportunity to play some big-time opponents, and of course this year playing North Carolina, Texas A&M as part of your non-conference schedule. Just talk about what that means, that you get to challenge yourselves early on against these types of opponents.
Yeah, it's a very challenging schedule without a question, but I think this goes back to the late 80s when Coach Jerry Moore was the head football coach there. He laid the foundation to have a successful program. And then Scott Satterfield, who was a former teammate of mine, comes in and puts his stamp on the program. And then Eli Drinkle's here for 1 year, then I'm the head football coach so 39 out of the 40 years, where it may be, there's been an App State guy in that program that knows how to win, how to be successful, how to recruit the right kind of guys. And in recruiting, we don't recruit stars. We trust ourselves, we trust our eyes. And we get to become our kind of guys that want to get a world-class degree and play for championships. And that's important to us. Your second question was the schedule. Again, it's a challenging schedule. Anytime you open up with an in-state opponent in North Carolina, in Boone, for the first time, second time I think in the history of our third time, we had Wake Forest, we had Miami. But we're expecting 40,000 plus in that stadium. And Boone will be rocking Saturday at noon for the ESPN kickoff, and it gets a chance to put our program on a national stage. I think that's what is special about the Sun Belt with the ESPN package we have, that every one of our games is on ESPN. And then we travel down to College Station, who will be ranked probably in the top 3, 4 in the country. And so that's going to give us a starting point where we are in the season. And we get no break from there. We come back and get right into it versus Troy at a conference game there in Boone. So I like our schedule. It is a challenging schedule, but I know our team is up for it. They've worked their tails off all summer long, put themselves in a position to be successful. And does that guarantee it? No, but it gives us a chance to be successful.
And Chase, a question for you. Just talking about, Coach mentioned about the receiving core and how young it is, but just wanted to get you to talk about getting a chance to work with them in the off season and some of the things that have stood out to you about this receiving core and what everybody can look forward to seeing this season from that group.
Yeah. It's a tremendous group of guys. We're really close in the locker room, outside the locker room. But it's kind of their time to shine. And, last year we had 4 great guys. They're all in the league now. But they'll be the first to tell you that they're so excited to see these guys kind of make a footprint, make a stamp, and some sort of mark to start their career. A lot of guys that we have a couple transfers, and I'm excited to work with. But this offseason really just getting closer with them outside of football, and just getting closer that way. And, I'm excited to get to work with them.
Hey, Coach. Charlie Krause, Coach and Crew Show. Your backfield is pretty loaded with Cameron and Nate. How do you balance the play calling for each to still feel like they're contributing heavily and it's a 1-2 punch? And just talk about your backfield, if you could, please.
We have a very deep room in the running back room, and we tell our team all the time we have one football. And everybody wants the football, but we're returning 2 1,000-yard rushers in Cam Peoples and Nate Noel, and people forget about Datrick Harrington. Some may say that Datrick was probably the best of all 3 before he was injured his knee a year and a half ago, and then we were able to go out and get a transfer in Amani Marshall from Wake Forest University, who's a big back like Cam Peoples, and we have the all-time leading rusher in high school history this past year, and Kanye Roberts coming in. And another undervalue is Anderson Castle. So we have 5, 6 guys can play most anywhere in our conference at running back. So we're very stacked there as a receiver position. There's only at the running back position, but again we have to throw the football also. So we'll be creative. There could be times you see 1 back, 2 backs, 3 running backs, maybe 4. We don't know. Coach Elliott's trying to see what we're doing up here, so I gotta be careful what I say.
Do have a question from Zoom for both Chase Brice and Stephen Jones Jr. The question is, with the new conference alignment, you're going to be playing a lot of opponents that might be unfamiliar. What are the challenges in facing new opponents, especially in conference play?
Just going to go watch the film on some guys we haven't seen before. It's not the same teams we've been playing the last 4 years. It's some new teams, so get in the film room and get to work.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for these schools to be added to the Sun Belt. It's my 2nd year, so it's already changing. It's already new, but I think it'll be fun, and I think it's a great opportunity for everybody in this conference.
Coach, if you'd like to expound on that same thing.
They might be unfamiliar. I'm not. We go back when I played here in the early 90s at Appalachian State. Some of the best games I've ever been a part of were Marshall and Appalachian State. And you go back to the late 80s, early 90s, whoever won that game was they were in the catbird seat to win the conference. And then, you played James Madison when I was a player in the playoffs. And just the way they play football there, and Coach Ignatius done a fantastic job of establishing his program, how he wants it done. And we've had a chance to watch James Madison on crossovers games this past year, last 2 years, and they have players who can play anywhere in our conference and some in the country. They have outstanding linebackers, a good quarterback, a really good offensive line, and they play the game the right way. We've played Old Dominion twice now since I've been back to App. And again, talking about those games, I'll never forget in 2016 they came to Boone, and it was a sold-out game. It was a whiteout game. There was 30,000 fans there. So that's, to me, and I said this earlier, regional rivalries. I think that's good for our athletic department. It's good for our fan base. Our fans can drive to any game on the eastern side within 4 or 5 hours. And I think when you play in front of great traditions like Marshall, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Coastal, the list goes on, James Madison, those are big-time games. That's why you go to college and play in front of those big-time games. And I think we're not going to Idaho anymore, and we're not going to New Mexico State. We're going to Huntington, West Virginia. We're going up to James Madison, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina with passionate fan bases. And it's good for our schools. It's good for our conference in the Sun Belt.
Hi, Grant Johnson from the Brice. This one's for Shawn, Chase, and Steven. You know, yesterday with it being released that you guys were projected to be first place in the East Division, what do you kind of make of those expectations, and how do you try to take like one game at a time and, you know, maybe, yeah?
Well, I'll start. We always start with the end in mind. Our goal is to be a conference champion and to be a champion of some sort, a bowl champion, a conference champion. But we don't put too much stock in the preseason ranks. If you look at the East, I said this to someone last night, you could put all those teams in a bag and shake them up and pick a team, they could win the conference. And, you know, people forget that Georgia State ended on a very good run last year, won a bowl game. Georgia Southern has Coach Helton there, who's a fantastic coach, who's an established head football coach at the highest level possible. Coach Chadwell at Coastal Carolina, Coach Ignetti, Coach Rain. I mean, the Eastern Division will be the toughest, and this is my humble opinion, the Eastern Division will be the toughest conference in the group of five. And it's going to be a very tough, whoever comes out there healthy has a chance to win the football game.
Preseason is great and all, but it doesn't win you anything.
You said it best. It doesn't. Preseason doesn't really mean nothing, to be honest.
There's a related question from Zoom from David Hall, the Virginian pilot, to Chase and Steven. What do you think about being picked to finish first, and does that add any pressure?
I wouldn't say I expected it, but Outstate's been the lead runners for a long time, so we're gonna be always at the top. So, but like we said, preseason doesn't mean nothing. We still got to take one game at a time and take it from there.
Yeah, I think it's a great honor, but everything will have to be proved on field.
Raymond Parch with 103.7 The Game in Lafayette. Chase, last year you settled in as the starting quarterback and were able to cut down on the interceptions, the turnovers, which was a big thing for you. How long did it take you to settle into your role leading this offense, and what are some of the things that you've been working on this offseason to take your game to the next level?
Yeah, getting here back in January of last year, it didn't take very, very long at all. I was pretty much thrown in the fire. I meshed well with my teammates, and from then on, just I look back at 2020 and wanted to improve. I had to improve for us to be successful, and so again, still want to limit some of those decisions, those poor decisions, but this offseason has turned into more of a consistency for me. Just trying to be consistent in and out during the game, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, and always giving our team a chance to win.
Yeah, Shawn Ted Lewis from the New Orleans Advocate and Times-Picayune. Also, this is for Chase. It looks like we're headed for student athletes to be able to transfer multiple times without having to sit out. Do you see this as a benefit for maybe your program and the Sun Belt in general, or does it mean that you might be losing more players? And Chase, as someone who benefited from that, what do you think about the opportunity to not have to sit out?
Great question.
Am I a fan for it? I'm not. Has it helped us? Yes, it has. It really has. It's helped us a bunch. It's hard for head coaches on roster management. We're sitting there, how many scholarships do you have next year? You might have 15 scholarships available. You might have 50 scholarships available. And that's the thing we have to figure out as far as what gives us the best chance to really have our roster management done. We meet on roster management every single morning. And it drives our coaches crazy, but it's swinging. Every day something changes. I want to come back. I don't want to come back. Well, who knows? They're talking to someone else when the season's over. I mean, we just don't know, and they can leave. I do believe, if we're talking to our commissioner and our Sun Belt meetings, there's going to be a 2 windows that you can transfer. I hope that passes. That would help us tremendously. But you have to change with time, and we're adapting. And so we'll adapt as the rules change, and we'll be at the forefront of this thing and use it to our advantage to be successful.
I'm a 2-time transfer. It's benefited me. It wasn't in the plan to transfer, but I wanted to get a degree and graduated in 3 years. And so and I'm going to graduate this December again. And I think that it has its pros and cons. I wanted to graduate, and I felt like that was the right way, in my opinion. But ultimately, that's just what I think. So it's not up to me.
Mitchell Gladstone, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Chase, you've transferred twice now, but this is your second year going into it, and you touched on a little bit of how you noticed the differences in what you're trying to do. I'm curious, going into this second season, what have you done in terms of trying to get more comfortable with that group, be it football wise or non-football wise, and how as a quarterback do you notice those differences from entering off-season 1 to entering camp 2?
Yeah, good question. Just hanging out, going out to eat, having our Wednesday night meals, playing on the field, cornhole. When we're not talking about football, like I just want to be kind of like with them, just like in the moment, whatever it is. Hang out with them outside, go to the river. And then when we start getting back into the football, this grind is gonna transfer over and improve our chemistry. I feel like I already have great chemistry with my guys. That was never in question when I got here. They've all had a lot of reps. A lot of them have played. It's just they're not as known yet, and that's great. It's great for me because they're hungry and we all want to be great.
I have a Zoom question for Stephen Jones Jr. Stephen, Coach made reference to the all-new receiving corps. As a defensive back who worked against them in the spring, what's your opinions of your new receiving group?
Yeah, man, like Chase said, all them boys they unknown, but they've been sitting in the back seat, been ready for this chance, and they're gonna hit the field running. I think these guys been waiting so long, and just like me, I've been sitting behind some good guys, and once my time came, I showed it, and I think those guys are gonna do the same.
I'll build that also with Stephen Jones. He mentioned that he sat behind some great players, and those guys were in NFL camps. And just like our receivers and Stephen both, when the time came, they were ready. The moment wasn't too big. And probably the biggest thing I'm more proud of Stephen Jones is he's a college graduate, and no one can take that away from him. He's an All-American college graduate. He represents our university and this conference in a great way.
Any other questions from in the room? If not, Coach, Chase, Stephen, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And for those of you in the room, we'll be continuing in about 8 minutes from now. We'll have the Monarchs of Old Dominion.